I find regular 16/8 fasting is easy to continue. The body gets used to the regular cycle quickly, so it does not feel hungry during fasting time. Contrary to popular belief, it is okay to have green tea, black tea, white tea, Marmite or other non-calorie dense drinks during the fasting period. To get the most benefit, you need to limit high carbohydrate foods and high calorie food during the eating time. Today we're talking about the world of fasting mimicking diets and how they stack up against regular fasting. We'll explore the benefits, drawbacks, and costs of each approach. Fasting has been around for centuries, but the fasting mimicking diet is a newer concept that's gaining popularity. Regular fasting typically involves completely abstaining from food for a set period, usually 14 to 18 hours. But a fasting mimicking diet allows you to eat small amounts of specific foods while still reaping many of the benefits of fasting. The fasting mimicking diet was developed by researchers at the University of Southern California. It involves eating a very low-calorie, low-protein diet for 5 days each month. During these 5 days, you consume about 40% of your normal calorie intake. The rest of the month, you eat normally. So how does this compare to regular fasting? Well, both approaches can lead to weight loss and improvements in metabolic health. But the fasting mimicking diet claims to be easier for some people to stick to since you're still eating something each day. It also helps preserve lean muscle mass better than complete fasting. However, I believe as you can have low-calorie drinks like white tea without sugar during the fasting period, you get the same benefits without the added expense. Both regular fasting and fasting mimicking diets have been shown to 1. Promote fat loss. 2. Improve insulin sensitivity. 3. Lower blood pressure. 4. Reduce inflammation. 5. Boost cellular repair processes. But the fasting mimicking diet researchers claim it has some unique advantages like 1. Reduce risk factors for age-related diseases. 2. Promote stem cell regeneration. 3. Improve cognitive performance. 4. Potentially extend lifespan. One study found that 3 cycles of a 5-day fasting mimicking diet reduced body weight and body fat, lowered blood pressure, and decreased insulin-like growth factor 1 or IGF-1, which is linked to aging and disease. Now, what about the drawbacks of regular fasting? It can be challenging for many people. You can avoid most of the side effects like 1. Extreme hunger. 2. Irritability. 3. Fatigue. 4. Headaches. 5. Difficulty concentrating. Strategies like non-calorie drinks, mentioned at the beginning of the video. The fasting mimicking diet aims to minimize these side effects by providing some calories and nutrients. But it's not without its own challenges. Some people may find it difficult to stick to such a low-calorie diet for 5 days, even if it's only once a month. And it's not suitable for everyone, particularly pregnant women, people with certain medical conditions, or those with a history of eating disorders. Let's talk numbers. A typical 5-day fasting mimicking diet might look like this. Day 1. About 1,090 calories, 10% protein, 56% fat, 34% carbs. Days 2 to 5. About 725 calories, 9% protein, 44% fat, 47% carbs. Now, let's discuss the cost. Regular fasting is essentially free since you're not buying any food during your fasting period. But the fasting mimicking diet can be quite expensive if you opt for pre-packaged meal kits. The Prolon Fasting Mimicking Diet Kit, for example, costs about $249 for a 5-day program. But you don't necessarily need to buy a kit. You could potentially create your own fasting mimicking diet at home using whole foods like vegetables, nuts, and olive oil. This would be much more cost-effective, but it requires careful planning to ensure you're getting the right balance of nutrients. So, which approach is right for you? It really depends on your personal health goals, lifestyle, and preferences. Some people find regular fasting more straightforward, you just don't eat for a set period. But others may prefer the fasting mimicking diet because it allows some food intake and may be easier to sustain long-term. Fasting mimicking diets costs too much as it is a commercial packaged food business. I am going to discuss how can we get the benefits of 16-8 intermittent fasting while avoiding some of the common drawbacks. Intermittent fasting has become super popular lately, and for good reason. It can help with weight loss, improve metabolic health, and even boost longevity. But let's face it, not eating for 16 hours straight can be tough. So, let's dive into some strategies to make it easier and more effective. First off, what exactly is 16-8 fasting? It's pretty simple. You eat all your meals within an 8-hour window and fast for the remaining 16 hours of the day. For example, you might eat between noon and 8 p.m., then fast from 8 p.m. to noon the next day. Sounds straightforward, right? But in practice, it can be challenging. One of the biggest hurdles people face with 16-8 fasting is hunger, especially when they're just starting out. Nobody likes feeling hangry. But there are ways to manage this. Try gradually extending your fasting window over time. Start with a 12-hour fast and work your way up to 16 hours. This gives your body time to adjust and can make the transition much smoother. Another trick is to stay hydrated during your fasting window. Drink plenty of water, and if plain water gets boring, try unsweetened tea or black coffee. These can help curb hunger pangs without breaking your fast. Some studies suggest that green tea, in particular, can help suppress appetite. Now, let's talk about nutrient timing. One potential drawback of 16-8 fasting is that it can be tricky to get all your nutrients in during that 8-hour eating window. But with a little planning, you can make it work. Focus on nutrient-dense foods during your eating window. Include plenty of lean proteins, healthy fats, fruits, and vegetables. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that people following a 16-8 fasting schedule were able to maintain adequate nutrient intake when they focused on high-quality foods. But what about exercise? Some people worry that fasting will zap their energy for workouts. The good news is, you can still exercise while fasting. In fact, some research suggests that working out in a fasted state can boost fat burning. A study in the British Journal of Nutrition found that people who exercised before breakfast burned up to 20% more fat than those who ate before working out. However, if you're doing intense workouts, you might want to time them closer to your eating window. This way, you can fuel up properly before and after. Listen to your body and adjust as needed. One common concern with intermittent fasting is muscle loss. But you can avoid this by making sure you're getting enough protein during your eating window. Aim for about 1.6 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. For a 150-pound person, that's about 109 to 150 grams of protein. Spread this out over your meals to help maintain and even build muscle mass. Now, let's address a big drawback: social situations. It can be awkward when everyone's eating and you're not. But there are ways around this. Try to schedule social meals within your eating window when possible. If that's not an option, consider being flexible with your fasting schedule occasionally. Remember, consistency over time is what matters most, not perfection every single day. Another potential issue with 16-8 fasting is overeating during the eating window. When you're really hungry, it's tempting to go overboard. But this can negate the benefits of fasting. To avoid this, plan your meals in advance. Break your fast with a balanced meal that includes protein, healthy fats, and complex carbs. This can help prevent overeating later in the day. Some people find that 16-8 fasting disrupts their sleep. If you're eating later in the evening, it might interfere with your ability to fall asleep. To avoid this, try to finish your last meal at least 3 hours before bedtime. If you're still hungry, a small protein-rich snack like a handful of nuts or some Greek yogurt can help tide you over without disrupting your sleep. Let's talk about sustainability. One of the biggest challenges with any diet is sticking with it long term. But 16-8 fasting can be more flexible than many other diets. If you have a special occasion or just need a break, it's okay to take a day off. The key is to get back on track the next day. This flexibility can make it easier to stick with in the long run. Now, here's a cool trick. You can actually shift your fasting window to suit your lifestyle. If you're a night owl, you might prefer to eat later in the day. If you're an early bird, you might want to start your eating window earlier. The important thing is to find a schedule that works for you and that you can stick to consistently. But what if you're just not seeing results with 16 to 8 fasting? Don't worry, there are ways to boost its effectiveness. Try incorporating some longer fasts occasionally, like a 24-hour fast once a week. A study in the journal Cell Metabolism found that alternating between 16 to 8 fasting and occasional longer fasts can enhance the metabolic benefits. Another way to maximize the benefits of 16 to 8 fasting is to pay attention to what you're eating during your eating window. Focus on whole, unprocessed foods. These are more nutrient-dense and can help keep you feeling full longer. A diet high in fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy fats can amplify the benefits of intermittent fasting. Let's address a common concern. Won't fasting slow down my metabolism? Actually, short-term fasting has been shown to boost metabolism. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that fasting for 36 to 48 hours actually increased metabolic rate by up to 14%. While 16 to 8 fasting is a shorter duration, it's still believed to have positive effects on metabolism. But what about hormones? Some people worry that fasting will mess with their hormonal balance. While extended fasting can affect hormones, 16 to 8 fasting is generally considered safe for most people. However, if you have any hormonal issues or conditions like diabetes, it's important to consult with your doctor before starting any fasting regimen. Here's a tip to make 16 to 8 fasting easier. Stay busy during your fasting window. When you're occupied, you're less likely to think about food. This could be a great time to tackle work projects, engage in hobbies, or do some light exercise. Speaking of exercise, let's talk about how to time your workouts with 16 to 8 fasting. Some people prefer to work out at the end of their fasting period, just before breaking their fast. This can maximize fat burning. Others find they have more energy if they exercise during their eating window. Experiment to see what works best for you. Now, let's address a common misconception. You don't have to count calories on 16 to 8 fasting. While it's true that many people naturally eat less when they restrict their eating window, it's still possible to overeat. Pay attention to your hunger cues and try to eat mindfully during your eating window. One potential drawback of 16 to 8 fasting is that it can be hard on your digestive system if you're not careful. Eating all your daily calories in a short window can lead to bloating or discomfort. To avoid this, try to eat slowly and chew your food thoroughly. Also, consider spreading your meals out evenly across your eating window rather than having 1 or 2 very large meals. Here's a pro tip. Use a fasting app to track your fasting periods. This can help you stay accountable and see your progress over time. Many of these apps also offer features like reminders and fasting tips. Lastly, remember that 16 to 8 fasting isn't for everyone. If you have a history of eating disorders, are pregnant or breastfeeding, or have certain medical conditions, it might not be appropriate for you. Always consult with a healthcare professional before starting any new diet regimen. You can absolutely have 3 meals inside your non-fasting window when following 16 to 8 intermittent fasting. Here are some key points about meal timing during 16 to 8 fasting. 1. The 8-hour eating window gives you flexibility to have multiple meals. Many people choose to have 2-3 meals during this time. 2. A common approach is to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner within the 8 hours. For example, if your eating window is 12 p.m. 8 p.m., you could have meals at 12 p.m., 4 p.m., and 7:30 p.m. 3. Having 3 meals can help ensure you're getting adequate nutrition and calories during your eating window. This is especially important if you're new to fasting. 4. Spacing out 3 meals can help stabilize blood sugar and energy levels throughout your eating period. 5. You can adjust the size and timing of meals based on your preferences and schedule. Some may prefer a larger breakfast and dinner with a light lunch in between. 6. Listen to your body's hunger cues. Some days you may only need 2 meals, while other days you may want 3 meals and a snack. 7. Focus on nutrient-dense, balanced meals to maximize the benefits of your eating window. 8. Stay hydrated during both fasting and eating periods. If you're considering either approach, it's crucial to talk to your healthcare provider first. They can help you determine if fasting is safe for you and which method might be most beneficial. Both regular fasting and fasting mimicking diets can be powerful tools for improving health and longevity. But they're not magic bullets. They work best as part of overall healthy lifestyle that includes a nutritious diet, regular exercise, good sleep, and stress management. Whether you choose regular fasting, a fasting mimicking diet, or another approach entirely, the key is finding a sustainable way of eating that supports your health and well-being in the long run.